Also, it's kind of time to go pick out your favorite pumpkins for your front porch or your yard, but this year you might notice a difference in the pumpkins that you pick out.
Yeah, Lindsay, this year's drought had an impact on the local and statewide pumpkin crop. I caught up with one local farmer who was telling me a little bit about what you should expect for his farm and beyond as you head to the pumpkin patch this month.
Every fall, when the leaves change and the weather turns cooler, families across the valley flock to local farms to pick out the best-looking pumpkins. However, this summer's weather might have an impact on the pumpkin you pick out.
When we were first getting ready to plant pumpkins, it was a little on the wet side, and we kind of had to rush them to try to get them in on a few dry days. And then after we got them planted, it quit raining.
Obviously, the dry conditions play a key role in the development of the pumpkin crop. You were telling me kind of the worst in 11, 12 years. How much rain did you get at the tail end of the summer, kind of in the heart of the pumpkin growing season?
All of August and about 2 or 3 weeks of September, it was only 1 inch of rain.
Wow.
Sam Detweiler has been growing pumpkins on his 186-year-old farm since the late 1980s and says while he's noticed some drop in the size of the pumpkin, the quality is as good as ever.
Quality is good. The quality is good. The size is off a little bit. You know, what maybe would have been 30, 35-pound pumpkins or maybe 25-pound pumpkins. We try to grow all sizes. We grow about 50, 60 different varieties of pumpkins and squash and minis and pie pumpkins.
Detweiler isn't the only local farmer noticing the impacts this summer's drought had on the pumpkin crop.
I have heard of some farmers that are complaining they have complete crop failures. Nobody is saying they've got the best crop they ever had. I talked to one good-sized grower today that said his crop was maybe 40, 50% of his normal crop.
We've talked with farmers that were able to irrigate and provide some source of water to those pumpkins and saw the benefit from that now in the harvest season. Others who maybe weren't able to do that are seeing some decreased yields.
And when it comes to a decrease in yields, that could mean an increase in the price of the pumpkin.
And pumpkins are a commodity. So if we have, we still had a lot of input cost into creating that crop and growing that crop. And if the weather has decreased yields, sometimes prices have to be reflective of that.
Yeah, Lindsay Shoemaker was just telling me that Ohio is a top pumpkin producing state. And in 2024, there was actually 4,500 harvested acres of pumpkins across Ohio. It's a pretty big number with actually 15,000 pounds of pumpkins per acre across the state, which is pretty interesting. And just we'll know the full effect that the drought had on this year when we get the official yield numbers in. And then we'll go ahead and compare those numbers to previous drought years. Last year was actually a drought year as well. So we'll go ahead and see how this year's drought truly had an impact on the pumpkin crop when we get those official yield numbers in later this fall.
Yeah, sounds like we're lucky to have some local pumpkins.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like, especially out of Detweiler's, a good amount of them, and a lot of them were still a decent size, even maybe just a little bit smaller than previous years.
All right, thanks, Andrew.